lunchtime. I'm Linda Mottram. Enjoy your night.
ABC News, good evening, I'm Michael Bausch. Australians could be offered a COVID vaccine at their workplace later this year under a proposal to include businesses in the rollout. The head of the nation's vaccination task force is looking at ways to speed up the program once more supplies arrive. Lieutenant General John Fruin says many industries already do flu vaccine appointments for staff each winter.
It also takes burden off both the primary healthcare system and some of the state mechanisms if necessary. It's just another way of helping accelerate the program and using another workforce that's out there.
The Aged Care Services Minister says he's worried some staff will leave the sector because of mandatory COVID vaccinations. Aged care staff are required to get their first dose by mid-September at the latest, with just over a third having already done so. Richard Colbeck says mandating vaccines for the workforce is necessary, but he's worried it may prompt some to quit.
We're concerned that some of them may do that, but we continue to talk to the sector and also to the unions with respect to this, because we are concerned. We want them to stay in their job. They do a very important job caring for senior Australians.
New South Wales Health has apologised for what it says was an error in vaccinating more than 160 students at a Sydney Catholic school. Claire Campbell explains.
Year 12 boarders at St Joseph's College at Hunters Hill received the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine in May after New South Wales Health approved a request from the school. The principal, Ross Tarleton, says the school made the request because it has a large number of boys from rural, remote and Indigenous communities. Most students are ineligible under the federal government's vaccination program. In a statement, the CEO of Sydney Local Health District, Teresa Anderson, has apologised, saying New South Wales Health agreed to vaccinate the Aboriginal students at Royal Prince Alfred Hospital, but through an error also vaccinated 163 students.
The Premier has fended off more criticism of her planned trip to the Tokyo Olympics, where the host of the 2032 Games will be announced. Brisbane is in the box seat to secure the event, but a petition is circulating calling for Anastasia Palaszczuk to be denied a travel exemption, given her recent call for returning flights to be capped. The Premier says the AOC President has a firm view on her attendance.
It has been made very clear by John Coates that it would be a disaster if the head of Queensland did not go. It's basically to go there, to make the pitch and to come back and then spend 14 days in hotel quarantine.
The Premier says she won't go if any part of Queensland is locked down. The Reserve Bank has kept interest rates steady at the record low of 0.1%. The decision was expected and was announced earlier this afternoon after today's monthly board meeting. There's been no change now since last November, but the RBA says it will wind back some of its emergency support measures as the economy picks up. Governor Philip Lowe has confirmed, though, that rates won't rise anytime soon.
In March last year, there were credible predictions that Australia's health system would be overwhelmed. The situation today is quite different. Our central scenario continues to be that the condition for a rise in the cash rate will not be met until 2024.
Emergency crews are at the scene of a house fire at Southport on the Gold Coast. The blaze broke out this evening in Lillypilly Drive. No injuries have been reported. Dragons forward Paul Vaughan has had his contract torn up over a house party that breached the New South Wales COVID lockdown and the NRL's biosecurity rules. Chloe Hart reports.
The Dragons board met today and decided to terminate the remainder of the former Origin and Kangaroos representatives' contract. 12 other players who attended have been fined a confidential amount by the club. The Dragons say the fact that Vaughan orchestrated a meeting so that players could get their story straight after the illegal gathering and that players lied about their involvement is upsetting and infuriating. The 13 involved have already been fined a total of $318,000 by the NRL and New South Wales Police. It's Vaughan's second indiscretion. He was fined for breaching the league's biosecurity rules in September.
Queensland's weather, coastal showers tomorrow, mainly about the north tropical coast. Mostly fine elsewhere, some frost for the southern interior. Light to moderate east to southeasterly winds. Brisbane 8 to 21 degrees. On Moreton Bay, seas around 1 metre. This is ABC News.
You're listening to ABC Radio Brisbane and Queensland.